What exactly does it mean to be British, Nick?
Those last names. It means a fantastic blend. It means a sense of tolerance, some of the words you've just reported from the Prime Minister. You know what? I'd point you to the events that we were celebrating about 4 or 5 days ago on the Normandy beaches, that incredible resilience and strength. And it doesn't matter where you've come from, what your faith is, that is what Britain is about.
70 years ago, maybe, but still now. And are those things unique to Britain?
Well, certainly D-Day was unique to Britain. That sort of sense of the underdog and support of the underdog, that was definitely unique to Britain. Where we have our challenges now is that we are trying to immerse ourselves and to work through a much more radical mix. And as people are trying to be brought together, some of the bumps in the road appear, and that is where we all have to work together and celebrate our differences, but also understand that this is a Christian country.
Do you think that's true, Sunda?
Well, the country we are today is the product, actually, of that history. I mean, my parents came to this country from India and from Ireland, so I was bound to be British. You're not going to be anything else with a family like that. And I think
it's
that,
inclusion, it's tolerance.
But we've learned things. We've learned things from that history. And, you know, actually D-Day was powerful, but actually go back 100 years to the First World War. We'll be marking the centenary. The armies that fought that war, they look more like the Britain we are today than the Britain of 1914. If we don't have the confidence to talk about that history, difficult history of empire, decolonisation, immigration, democracy, then we won't understand how we've come to the values. We've got religious tolerance is really important. Respect people's freedom to believe as long as they respect the freedom of belief of others. But we got that value through, you know, through civil wars and through religious conflict. And that's why we uphold those values today. For, you know, all minorities are protected in terms of the faith they want to practice, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, as long as they respect the views and free speech and right to believe and not believe of other people too.
I mean, of course, you've got to understand history to understand the present, but I'd like to talk more about the present and the future, if I may. Ellis Collins on Facebook says, schools should promote universal morals and teachings that can be applied and shared by many different cultures and people. British values is a pointless and empty phrase aimed at getting easy votes, Nick.
You're right, part of it could be seen as grandstanding. But what's so wrong with trying to espouse British values if you happen to be British? If you look across to the United States, where I lived for a couple of years and my children were educated, they celebrate their belief in America by every child, and whatever the school, junior high, high school, they all pledge their allegiance to the flag. I see no problem with that. I see that as a great unifying factor.
What's the problem, in fact, Sunda, of taking a few of those values that are seen as American values and applying them to ourselves? They do some things better.
We'll do it our way. I think we do some things pretty well. Actually, you know, citizenship ceremonies when people get a passport and the flag and the anthem there, that's quite good. Doing that every morning in the classroom, I think people would laugh, actually, and they wouldn't do it. So we can have because we have a different tradition of these things. So, I mean, an important point is that actually people from every ethnic and faith background strongly share, actually, common values.
So
and if there
let's
are minorities,
celebrate that,
and we should
Sunda.
celebrate that.
Let's have Muslim children standing with
Yeah.
Buddhist children, standing with Jewish children, standing with Catholic children, and let's all pledge. But let's
we'll do it in our way. We'll do it in our way. We won't do it in an American
it's not
way.
working.
Do you know, Paul Deakin on Facebook says, I didn't realise there were any British values anymore. I assumed it was now racist to say you're British. And in some ways, has the word British been sullied? Are we tiptoeing around because of political correctness a bit?
Maybe Paul should have watched a bit more of the Olympics, actually, and the story that Danny Boyle told. We at our best, we are a confident multi-ethnic society because we're all part of it, because we share something in common. Diversity is important in terms of faith and ethnicity and so on, but what matters in a diverse society, you work harder at the things that you share in common, not just at, you know, of course, live and let live once you've got the basis of your common citizenship, but the common citizenship is something we have to agree on, agree the rules of, and actually respecting the values and views of other people who don't agree with you is the fundamental, actually, of how British democracy works.
We found a point of accord. May God or Allah bless someone like Mo Farah, who, when he wins a race, puts the Union flag around him and celebrates the fact that he's British. That is the emblem to take forward out of all of this.